Hello and welcome to BonkTable. I'm Mass, and with me today is my wonderful co-host Cassandra.
Hello.
There you are. How are you today?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I went out to some ramen place for lunch and it was really good.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We talked about all this earlier, but this is what you call podcast magic.
Did we? I don't think we did.
No, we didn't actually, but then I formulated that bit as we were doing it. And anyway.
Perfect. Hopefully the title of this episode tells you what we're doing. We're going to be talking about all the different upgrades for characters, all the treasures, heirlooms, all Mastarys, anything else characters got. We're not going to go... I want to say, we're going to do an overarching talk about it, and then we're going to go into details for each faction, but, we're not going to hit up everything. There's a lot to go over, and you can basically spend an episode per faction going over all that stuff. We're just going to hit on, some of the sinkers and swimmers of each faction.
Plus, if you were a real BonkTable devotee, you would know that we basically ran through all of the heirlooms in that fashion when we did the faction breakdowns way back in the beginning.
No, we didn't.
Kind of. We talked about. Hand to God, I swear. When we were doing the faction episodes, we went through.
We've never
all of the heirlooms and everything. Did I dream this?
Maybe. I know, the closest we got would be the dueling episode, but that would be artifacts and stuff that's associated to dueling.
See, I don't think we went into them in any, huge amount of depth, but I think we just whipped through them. But anyway, this is, think of how much we've learned in the interceding time, so this is a perfect time to revisit it either way.
I don't think we've done any, faction overview or anything, because one of the things when we were talking about doing BonkTable was we didn't really want to hit up factions even though I'm doing my own side faction thing for 100k, but that's mostly because I'm I know 100k, I could talk about this, I feel comfortable going deep into this whole faction. But if you're gonna say, oh, go through Nords, I'd be there's some surface level stuff, but I would have to go get an expert. I know we did the Dwag problem and the old D problem, but that was more these are very clear problems in factions that have since been handled appropriately from Parabellum for the concerns of these factions and have made them better since. I'm not going to take those episodes down, but they're kind of now a bit of history of the game, of what was going on at the time.
Yeah.
So if that level of disparity of the top and bottom happen again, I would do those episodes again to explain what the reasoning is. Hopefully it's not for Dwag and Old Dominion, to be honest.
Yeah, well,
you imagine if it swapped, Old Dominion OP, Dwag not good enough. It's god damn it, we were here 2 years ago.
So here's the thing. I played into Revision OD, and I've been maining Nords for the last few months. More than that even, probably, I would say closer to a year now. And they did just my shit in that game. They were just up the board turn one.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say maybe history has formulated or the future has become history's inverted mirror.
Yeah, but City States exists right now, so we can't make Dwag bad.
Well, that's so now what you're describing though is in the philosophical space, these two problems still exist in opposition to one another. But also there's just a toilet floating around in space as well. Is what I take it as when you say that City States is also in the mix.
Yeah, it's just look at City States over there doing stuff.
Their cav looks so cool though.
Oh, those chariots?
I gotta give them that.
Yeah.
Not even the chariots, just the
companion.
The other guys. Yeah, the companion cavalry. Well, I think they look terrific.
Did I send you a list that was 9 chariots and
I would play that.
I would too. I want to, just for shits and giggles. I might just go find someone and throw it on TTS and be all right, I'm gonna do this just to see, because The Supremacy Hammer and Anvil is really funny because if anyone engages any of your cav or chariot regiments, they can no longer score. So if someone's like on a zone, you can just run a chariot into their face and be like, sorry.
That's pretty good though.
Yeah, just prevent them from scoring and be held up by like 2 stands. I could just see someone with a massive brick be like, this is annoying.
What if I rolled up with the city states all cav list and was like, I'm Greek mass?
You're Greek horse lord, is that it? I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel at that point we 100% would be playing horse lord, like horse v horse into each other. Like that would be a battle report. You would be like, oh, I got all these minis, we're gonna play it. And I'm like, done. I'll repack the horse lord list.
I would try it, but then everybody, like, if I brought that, if we both went horse lord at the LGS, everybody would be like, I don't want to play that.
No, we can play each other. We don't have to involve the others of the LGS. They can just watch the stupidity of that match. They're not allowed to play. They have to watch. Strap them to their chairs. They're like, why? We want to play. No.
Wow. There's that joke has a whole extra dimension via our Discord that I'm not really going to get into on the podcast proper.
Is it the sex dungeon?
It's adjacent to that. There's been a lot of relevant chair for somebody who watches talk that's come up over the period since that Discord has been active. So I really think that our regulars are going to get a kick out of this exchange, in particular when this gets posted.
I don't even think our regulars listen to this. What?
Yeah, you're right. The main people who hang on our Discord, I'm sure, don't actually listen to these at all, which I'm fine with.
Yeah. Skillin will, and he'll be like, ho ho, and then he'll message one of us.
Perfect.
Yeah. So shout out to Skillin and your Spires list. We were talking about you before we started recording.
Yes.
If you want
to play into that list.
Yeah, that list is mean, and now I have to be conscious about it because it's just like, God damn it. Should we do PB News?
Yes.
Oh, by the way, Eric, the guy who's going to comment on this video, we are currently only rambling for 7 minutes and 40 seconds, just a heads up, unlike the last times whenever we go over 15, you comment. I feel great just calling out people who call out our stuff. It's like, aha, I am paying attention.
The night is young, I mean.
We'll see how stupid it gets.
Yeah, there's plenty of time to digress.
Alright, so for PB News, the Lore Campaign Pack is available for pre-order. It's called Crucible Wills, the Stoneface Campaign. You get, looks like a regular box with campaign book, 2 character cards, one for a gentleman named Ragodosh, the Stoneface King, who is a proxy, well, not a proxy, but he's a stand-in for a Hold Ray. And you get a mini for Eric Skur, the Imperial Officer. They both get unique sculpts. This is, well, he's painted blue. I don't really care what color you paint him, but he has this weird, like, Iron Halo-esque thing behind him, and he's, like, on a rock with his big hammer and shield. He has, like, this cool-ass cape, too. I actually really like the Dwayne Holdray guy going on here. Then they got Eric, who is a dude with a boar, kind of like cloak shoulder pad thing, and he kind of has a big-ass mace and what looks like a WoW shield, to be honest. I know people are like, oh, he looks weird, and they liked his old artwork before, where he kind of had a more generic Imperial Officer look. I don't mind, but I also, like, I like the more unique sculpts, and I especially like stuff like this, where you can just go get yourself a unique sculpt, even if it, especially if it represents something that's already existing and doesn't change its actual stats. I'm 100% for this kind of stuff, as well as the campaign book that's included. So you get a campaign book for Dwagholm versus 100k battle, the 2 miniatures, 2 command cards would have unique art for each of these miniatures, 2 infantry bases and stands, assembly instructions, and this is the best part.
Yeah!
2 $5 discount coupons for the STL terrain.
That's $10.
Yeah, so
but total.
Yeah, there's STL terrain for both Dwagholm and 100k. They are $25, and this is all American. So I'm kind of actually thinking of picking up this box just for the book, because I like to have this stuff and read it. The minis, I really like the Hold Ray. The Imperial Officer, I would use him. He looks cool. I like him. What about you?
I mean, so because they're not factions that I play, like the actual like the game play contents of the box, I feel like don't really have anything for me, which is fine. I'm sure I'll get my due soon enough. In terms of the sculpts themselves, I have opinions.
Oh, let's hear him. Hot take.
So first of all, Ragadosh the Stoneface King. When you first started saying his name there, my brain was like Ragadosh the Stoneface Killer, and I just want you to consider a rapper named that. That would be badass.
God damn it, we're back to the
I don't have
names.
I don't have anything more to give you about that. It's just I think that would be a good name for a rapping dwarf.
Don't make me repeat the Magic episode where I typed in Wizard X and got a bopping song where I'm gonna type in Ragadosh the Stoneface Killer and get like orc rap, because that would totally be orc rap.
If you find orc rap, send it to me.
Oh god.
But okay, so some other opinions. He's got his beard tucked into his belt. That.
It just keeps it from flapping around.
I'm sorry. I don't think that's like having your shirt tucked around your cell phone clip. It's just not. Which I don't even think people do now because phones are different. You just put it in your pocket or handbag, etc.
Okay, I did find
Secret holster in your boot. You know, his shield is pretty cool. For all the uniqueness of Conquest as a setting, there's still like, oh well, the dwarf aesthetic would be dwarf faces, which I find very funny, and that comes through in the STLs as well. Yeah, it's always just like a dwarf face motif.
Yeah, especially that one big square building, or all the little pillars are just dwarf faces.
Imagine if you were going
and the building itself is dwarf
to get a bank loan and you had to walk up the tongue of a giant plaster human face sticking out of the ground. Would you feel good about that?
No, I feel like some corporate overlord is taking my money.
Or like, imagine if you put on a jacket and just the whole back was a graphic of just some guy's face.
It's Jeff Bezos.
With a mustache, yeah. Or like an abstract representation of a face with a mustache. I don't buy it. But anyway,
they are, like, Dweghom are dwarves. I know, but like... But they're not.
But like, we don't make everything look like our own faces. You know?
Yeah, well,
I don't think other... But every culture of dwarves from every fantasy milieu is like, okay, what are we going to put on the front of this building? I know. Let's make it look like a big dwarf face.
Yeah, but humans don't do that, but humans graffiti their own face onto buildings, so it's the same thing.
I don't know. Anyway, I'm not gonna. We could argue the whole night about that, so we kind of keep it moving. But
yeah, we'll
agree to disagree, I guess.
Let me go find some Tupac graffiti for you.
See, that's... I don't know. We don't have time. That's different, but we don't have time. Moving on to Eric Schur.
Is his name Schur?
Probably not, but that's how I would pronounce it. Schur. Yeah, something like that.
Oh my god.
So I got hung up on his little... Overall, I'm not feeling this model, if I'm being honest. It's just like his mace is goofy looking, like in relation to him.
Mm-hmm.
The haircut is like...
It's two Nords. He's got mutton chops and a mohawk, but then in his art, he's bald.
Well, it's not even a mohawk. It's like the, how do I explain this?
What is this thing?
It's a certain kind of men's haircut, for sure.
It doesn't even go all the way. Like, only on the front half.
Yeah, it's like a high top fade, like a super high top fade.
Maybe that's what it's called. Should I take this mini into the barber and say, give me that? And they're like, we can take the hair off your head and slap it to the side for mutton chops.
I mean, you can, but if you get that haircut, people are going to yell Nazi at you on the street.
Oh. Yeah, no thank you. 100% no thank you.
Um, but that's because and that's beyond that just being a great joke. There is a basis for me saying a thing like that. It's not just needlessly provocative. But again, huge digression that we can't get into. What I want to really focus on, though,
I'm leaving
is
that
his,
in, by the way. This is
I
your
know,
time to
I
say.
hope
Okay,
so.
perfect.
Is his whole shoe and pants situation is just not.
Oh, that's the fashion of the time. Leave that alone. There's tons of art I can get of shoe and pant or
No,
pants
no,
and shoe.
I know that that's how people dressed at the time, but it's just like
Leave his pant shoes alone.
it's a very sheer leg profile, and then to get so puffy at the thighs, like certainly.
He just goes
No,
from skinny to like boof with his armor and poofy like pants and arms and
like
chest.
as a hot girl, I get it. That's you want that profile, but
Paint this guy like a peacock.
to see it rendered. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I'm getting like Astolfo vibes off of his bottom half. The shield is pretty Warhammer, but I don't mind it. I at first I was gonna make fun of him for having the pelt, like, oh, everybody else gets like a bear or a wolf, and like, oh, you gotta wear the pig.
Yeah, but they all like all the Imperial officers have a pig motif with their helmet and shoulder pad.
Oh, I didn't know that. I just then I started thinking about like this is the hog guy, and it's like okay, that's badass.
I like the big head hog, and then kind of transitions to a fur coat on his back.
Yeah, one thing I like about PB in general with their sculpts is when it comes to animal pelt cloaks, they leave the head on.
Yeah,
because they understand that's very cool.
You know what? I kind of like his mini. I think I might chop off his head and like slam on I don't know if like a Steel Legion helmet, or I might go try and get the Imperial officer helmet off the hand or something and slap that on top of him, so he has like double bore motif going on. Maybe swap out his weapon. And you know what? I don't even care. Maybe I'll make the mace even bigger.
The weapon is you know what? The weapon could be forgiven. Honestly, I think if you change the head, that changes everything.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people's main problem with him is that he has some very old art of him as the very classic Imperial officer mini. And I believe that's what a lot of people associated him with. This update to him becoming more because before he looked way more older and grizzled. This one looks like he's more like he's younger. Maybe he's like getting into more fights. He's not as grizzled yet. So I mean, this is just like a representation of a younger version of him when he was like more active in frontline combat. And as he got older, he was like, "Fuck that." I'm losing hair left and right. I'm not doing so well. A lot of kind of muscle mass is off my body, but I'm still in here fighting wars and stuff. So like I could understand that. Like I haven't read the lore timbit. No, I did read his lore timbit of like it, but it's more like him growing up and not him in conflicts. Is he in the living world? Am I going to seriously check? Yes, I am going to seriously check this right now.
The fact that he's got like a modified Harry Dubois facial hair thing going on it seems to tell me that it's not going to bode well for his mental health through this campaign.
It's Timolon the Lion. Erigh. Wait, is this the same guy? What the No, he's Eric. While the other guy in Living World is Erich, while this guy is Eric, and then it's Schur, while this guy is Schurr. It's like the same guy.
They gotta be the same guy, and it's just like, but did two different spellings. Because if they have two different guys with identical names but spelled slightly differently, then honestly, that's just PB for you, because the blooded. I can't even say that they wouldn't do that.
Well, here, I just sent you the picture of his character profile from the Living World, like just on just DM. Like, look at the difference between these two characters. Like, there's a huge difference. This guy, he's not even remotely as bulky as Eric Schur with 2 R's.
Yeah, is, I don't know. It's because his hair and his facial hair is so different. It's hard to really.
Yeah,
but I mean, he doesn't. His armor is 100% different.
Mm-hmm. But this guy very much looks like the original Imperial officer. Like, this is like the character stand-in to represent that model lore-wise. While this is, I guess, like, I don't know. I don't know if this is expansion upon that said same character, but like he has a different motif. Like this guy, like when I first saw him, I actually thought he was a noble lord. To be honest, because noble lords are more combative, while imperial officers are like, yeah, get going, dudes. While he's supposed to be an imperial officer stand-in, so I don't know. Maybe there's something lore-wise, and I should read the Living World and go through all 15 chapters he has. Oh my god.
We also don't know necessarily like where in the faction's timeline this box set is set. So this could have been when this terrible old man that you've DM'd me was a much younger, be-mohawked young hellion.
Yeah. I would be 100% down for if this was Eric when he was between 20 and 30, maybe 35, and then the Eric in the Living World picture is him now like in his 40s to like getting into 50s, and he's like still around, but he's like, dear God, what the fuck is happening? Why am I still here?
What if it's like Benjamin Button situation, and the picture of him, on the Living World is actually the younger, older-looking Eric Schur.
Oh my god!
And then to explain why he has gotten younger over time instead of older, he vanishes and then comes back with a slightly different spelling of his name, and he's like, "No, I'm a different guy. I don't know who that old man is."
Both played by Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
Hear that, Parabellum? You gotta play it by Brad Pitt. I'll probably buy this. I kind of want the minis, but really, what I really want is the book.
I like the concept. Like when they do one that's relevant to me, I'll buy it for sure.
Yeah, I just want to collect all that lore. Give me the lore. Rule of the week.
Rule of the week.
You want to do Perry?
Perry.
You want to read it out to me?
Yeah, I do. Just one sec. My tabs got all messed up. Perry. Enemy stands engaged with a stand with this special rule cannot reroll failed hit rolls. Character stands cannot reroll failed hit rolls against another character stand with this special rule.
I like it. This is anti-bless, anti-flurry, anti-spell, but actually this would be anti-inspired reroll sixes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That did get a lot of use out of that. Characters have a lot of effects that reroll, like Caliburn from 100k. Lets you reroll hits during a duel. Eccentric fighting style. Those are two just off the top of my head. This is a nice little defensive thing. Doesn't pop up all the time, especially if someone doesn't have any rerolls or any way to reroll. Like this counter's opportunist. So it's not a bad rule at all. I like it.
Yeah, it's surprisingly good. When I read it the first time, I was just like, oh, whatever. But like, posing reroll hits is goes a long way.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff that just have some form of reroll in them, that they can use. Like Bless is mostly used defensively, but there are times where it's used offensively. So counteracting that is super nice. The only regiment I did a quick check. The only regiment that I found quickly that Perry was on was the Anathantoi, and I think that was a memory of old. I don't know if anything else really has Perry. I think the Zilliart can get it through like Gladiator or something. What's not bad. So yeah, it's a fun one. It's got some nice corner cases. I don't think I would like build something around this special rule, but when you see someone with flurry like Raiders or what else has flurry? Brute drones coming at you, you're like, nah, stop it. And you're good.
Yeah, Raptors.
Yeah, Raptors, there you go. So a lot of flurry running around, and this just shuts it down. So it's good. I don't really have a ton to say about this rule. On top,
Solid rule.
I think you know what the main issue is, not on a lot of things either.
Yeah, it doesn't come up much. We were hard pressed to even come up with one example.
Yeah, so if you know something that's on that was not Anathan toy that maybe shows up in games a little more than just off the top of my head, I don't know. Join BonkTable Discord. Let me know in there. We got a BonkTable discussion channel. You can just tell me whatever you think in there. People comment all the time. Or you can go on YouTube and drop a comment there. I'll read them. as I'm calling people out specifically who drop comments, so I do appreciate it, and yeah, I do read them.
Yeah, I go and regularly, obsessively check the comments to see if anyone has said anything rude about me.
No one has said anything rude about you ever.
Oh, believe me, if they had, you'd have heard about it.
There's a whole Reddit AMA about this. It's like someone said something mean.
There's a subreddit dedicated to my many enemies.
Oh my god. Are you the mod, or is it one of your enemies who's the mod?
No, I'm the mod. I would love it though if everybody who didn't like me got together and made like a brotherhood of evil mutants.
Is it? Would it be bad if it was your 7 evil exes?
I mean, that's not so bad either, but I mean, I'd rather the Chuds were after me, all things being equal. Just in terms of what I'm actually scared of.
I'm like, man, I would not want to have to deal with my exes if they're formed a league, and I'd be like, oh, please leave me alone.
No.
I was like, can I get a restraining order?
The last thing I need is people talking.
There's a reason why we're not together anymore, and I am happy about it. Please do not bring this up. All right, let's get into our main topic.
Yeah.
Sweet. So I'm on Conquest, heirlooms, upgrades, Mastarys. So I'm on page 76 of the main rulebook. This is character stands personalization. Character stands. I'm just gonna read out. It's page and a half. I'm just gonna read it out, and then we'll use 100K as a baseline for kind of more specifics of what's going on for upgrades, and we'll kind of talk about, I guess, upgrades overall before we get into faction specific ones we want to chat about. So in the rulebook, magical items and heraldry are an important part of the faction's culture and history. Each faction has access to a list of character upgrades such as heirlooms, treasure troves, etc., or additional abilities and unique upgrades as described in their respective faction army list and entry. Character upgrades do not need to be visually represented on this character stand. Each character upgrade can confer abilities, characteristic bonuses, special rules, draw events, supremacy abilities. These bonuses are lost as soon as the character stand is removed for any reason. That's the blurb in the rulebook. So when I read that the first time, I was like, there's got to be more. Then we get into character stands and masteries. Character stands are heroes of renown or highly gifted individuals who excel above and beyond the masses, be it through luck, education, training, effort, or other powers at work. Character stands have mastered abilities that make them exceptional though it is not uncommon for two such heroes to have mastered the same path. Masteries are optional upgrade abilities for your characters, which are noted on your army list and confer ability bonuses to your character stand. Character stand may select one mastery according to the available category listed on the character stand's entry. Each mastery can only be purchased once unless otherwise stated. There are 3 common categories for masteries: tactical, combat, and arcane. Certain factions, however, may have access to only some of them, or even to faction-specific mastery categories. All available masteries categories are listed in each faction army list. All right, and that's it for the rulebook. It just says this is a thing you can do, basically, and kind of lets you know that they exist, but you really have to go into the PDF to learn about how these interact. It's not bad or anything, and I get why they put it there, because some of the factions allow different characters to take more or less upgrades. In Old Dominion, the Zilliarch I think can take 2 or 3 upgrades, while 100K you can only take 1 heirloom, while the Zilliarch takes 2 or 3. So they have to state that somewhere that you can do it, because sometimes when I'm building armies or in different factions, I'm like, why can you take these upgrades? It's kind of similar to the Imperial Officer. I know the question comes up of the Imperial officer, it's like, I only took one battlefield drill, and it's like, you can take two. It's like, where does it say that? Well, you need to go look at Browse Faction instead of Prepare for War to see that, like in the Army Builder app, and it's a little confusing that way. That's kind of that's my only, like, I guess, gripe about the rules writing system for this, is that it's just kind of in a bunch of different places. I understand why the actual specifics, though, are in each faction's PDF, though.
Yeah.
Do you want me to keep reading?
I can do. Wait.
I'm in the 100K PDF about characters and character upgrades. I can keep going. So, the first blurb basically says the same thing that I've already said. Like, you can take upgrades and stuff. They help with the character, blah, blah, blah. You get abilities and bonuses. As long as when the character dies, you lose them. So here are some of the specifics. Unless otherwise specified, the following restrictions apply for 100K character stands. Only infantry character stands may purchase a banner character upgrade. This is going to be, I believe, common just across the board for all factions. It's only the infantry characters who can do it. So if you're on a horse, you can't take a banner. If you're on a dragon, you can't take a banner. Pretty easy. I don't even know can the Fallen Divinity take a banner? No, it's a monster. It's not an infantry. There you go.
Yep.
Only character stands with the Wizard X or Priest X special rules may select an arcane character upgrade. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Because Retinue's gone. Character stands with the Wizard X special rule may not purchase armor character upgrades. You're a wizard. You don't get to wear clothes. Sucks to be you.
Hot.
If a character stand can have more than one character upgrade, they must purchase upgrades from different categories. So if you buy a weapon in the weapon category, you can't pick up a second weapon. So in 100K, I can't take Caliburn and the Flesh Cleaver. I can take Caliburn and Armor Dominion because it's from two different categories of upgrades, weapons and armor. So, and then under heirlooms itself, each heirloom may only be included in your army once. So you can't have multiple characters running around with Armor Dominion. That'd be really crazy, and I think would be way too fun for 100K players.
Yeah.
For Mastarys, it does something very similar. It gives you the blurb about them from the main rulebook. Mastarys, blah, blah, blah. So, as a rule of thumb, a character stand may select one mastery according to the available categories listed on their army list profile. However, there are cases in which a character stand may be able to purchase more than one. These will be clearly stated in the character stand's army list entry. Each mastery can only be purchased once unless otherwise stated. These are three categories for the masteries: tactical, combat, and arcane. So, each of the characters will say, like, combat tactics mastery, or combat arcane mastery, or something like that. Usually tactical and combat, or tactical and arcane, are pretty common. Some factions, like city states, only have one mastery, and that's like their city architect one. I know Spires has like flesh carving, what's specific to them. Old Dominion has a specific one, so they get various bonuses, but you can only pick one of them. I don't really know. I don't think there might be a way to pick more masteries. From as a 100K player, there really isn't. And then you got to have Wizard X or Priest X to take from Arcane, but it's also stated on your character entry. But that's really it there. What do you like? Kind of broke it down like rules wise. What do you think so far, Cassandra?
I mean, it all pretty much makes sense so far. The overall, I think the relics and masteries, and to a lesser extent the no, never mind. That because that's changed. But yeah, the relics and masteries really are sort of a relic of like 1.0 Conquest design. In the sense that there is, I don't think the amount of customizability that they're going for with them in their current form really suits the game in its current form.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there. Like, I don't know, maybe not fully, but for sure, like 75%, easy. Like, So we're gonna get into some of these more specific for for factions, but like a lot of my issues with masteries, and especially like the artifacts and like armor, like heirlooms, treasure troves. I'm just gonna call them artifacts from now on. Anything that's like standard of steel, armor dominion, the kiss farewell, all that stuff. It's not masteries an artifact, just to generalize it to make it a lot easier. Is a lot of it isn't points costed very well.
No.
Like we're gonna probably hit up a couple of these where it's like, this is too expensive, don't bother taking it. Like, it doesn't do enough, or like,
yeah,
like Eye of Icarus is 35 points for target friendly regiment with an 8 of the character stand and rerolls failed, hit rolls a 6. This is, I believe, I talked about this in the 100k guide where I was talking about shooting, and I got into upgrades for it specifically and was like, this, I think if you take air, it's like the same thing, but you're not spending 35 points on it, kind of thing. I know it's a little more prevalent in other factions, like 100k gets a lot away with a lot of things because it's just cheap.
I will say most of the banners as of the most recent revision or one of the more recent revisions, have become a lot more viable, just because before you had to pay the TAC 1 tax just to take a banner, back when retinues were still a thing.
Yeah.
So now that they've taken the retinues out, you're generally saving like 10 to 15 points on the banner that you're taking, which makes most of them, because they were costed with that in mind, they tend to have more attractive effects than a lot of other families of relics in most armies. So that was one cool thing that's happened throughout all this nonsense.
Here's another one, like tactical or retinue requirements for masteries went away. So
that's a good one too.
In 100k, Art of War is 30 points, but you need Tactical 3. That was, to get Tactical 3 was another 30 points. So Art of War actually cost you 60 points. Yeah, you're getting Tactics 1 through 3 as well. But if you really just want Art of War, it was going to be 60 points. And it was just like, that's effectively like 2 stands of like Merc crossbows you could have just thrown in instead. Like the, yeah. If you want to start, no, they're 35, so like almost 2 stands of more crossbows. But it's really tough to like do that with upgrades, and that's one of my issues. Like the good upgrades, Armor Dominion 40 points, like that's 5 more points, and I believe that's a standard Gilded Legion. Where's that Gilded Legion at? Show me your moves. I'm scrolling. 45, yeah. So that's a really hard thing, because usually the problem with these upgrades is that they are very specific, and you're taking them to do very specific things, and if they don't do well enough specifically, it was better to trade that upgrade for just more stands, or even turn that upgrade into banners. Like if I'm taking Eye of Icarus and I have, I don't know, some like 2 regiments that have 2 15-point banners, like Ashen Dawn or Seal Temple, like it'd be better if I just dropped the Eye of Icarus and threw 2 banners on the Ashen Dawn. Like it's just going to be a better outcome for me, and I have 5 points left over. I throw a banner on the Merc crossbow. Screw it. Well, some of these just don't really do much and are really not worth it to take. Like
once we get to Woodrune, that'll be...
Yeah, Lady's Favor for 10 points gives this character stand Tenacious. Like 100k is not winning like really any duels. There's like 1 or 2 builds for it, but it's still not, you're not like going to be taking over the world for duels where you kind of want to take this, and that takes up one of your slots. And if you go for long lineage to take another upgrade, it's 15 points. Are you really gonna spend it on Lady's Favor, or are you gonna go spend it on Armor of Dominion and Standard of Steel and buff out a regiment? Like I'll just wrap this up. But the thing I find with upgrades is the more effective ones are ones that affect regiments characters in and buff that regiment, or buff things around it or do stuff like Raven banners from Nords is very powerful, like especially for a high resolve character, and pumping out a 12-inch bubble of like resolve 5, super good, super powerful.
Yeah.
While Armor Dominion is really good because once people make contact with you, you're stripping out all the cleave and smite, keeps your stuff alive better. Standard Steel just gives dread. Regalia the Empire gives Dauntless to Household Guard units. Like there's some good things in here. But the other issue is they're only affecting like one regiment, and other stuff that's good gets like really hyper specific. Like Oliphane's Roar is for cavalry regiments, and you're only going to throw that on like big balls of Household Knights or Crimson Towers. So you're building into that artifact as well, but it's going to provide nothing to like anything else. So there's kind of those problems in here, and it's just a lot of these upgrades are just points spent currently on more stands.
Yeah. Long lineage is usually a trap. There's a couple of cases where you need it to enable a build, but generally speaking, it's just making an expensive waste of points, an even more expensive waste of points.
Yeah, like 15 more points to go buy another upgrade. So now you really want to make it worth it. Like Armed Dominion Banner Steel is 40 each, so that's 80. Long lineage to get both. Now you're at 95.
Yeah, it's very easy.
That's 2 Gilded Legion stands.
Yeah,
like just so yeah, like numbers wise, it like you can also build some crazy stuff, but like what we talked about during the dueling episode, like the 250 point conning gear, where it's like this just could be more guys.
Yeah,
like this, there's a regiment of raiders in this one dude.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Yeah, it's kind of my big issue for upgrades. Like I like upgrades. I like making characters special and unique. I like adding that flavor to them and using those upgrades, and that really limits the upgrades I want to take because the system itself is pretty restrictive. It changes for different factions. Like I mentioned Old Dominion, where the Ziliarch and the Fallen Divinity can take like 3 different upgrades. What's great for them, while 100k is pretty restricted. But I also know and understand that Parabellum doesn't want Hero Hammer. And I appreciate that, because I don't really want, like, I'm going to take all the attacks on my Defense 5, Tenacious, Dread, Armor Dominion, Noble Lord. Like, like, got 7 wounds, and you're just, like, trying to slowly kill this bastard, and you're like, I'm going to sink 25 attacks into him, and he's like, oh, I save all these attacks. Oh, I'm good. Like, oh, do. And then the regiment attack like claps back and wipes it out. Unless they have a hero, it's all decked out like that. Like, I completely understand and get it. I don't know if I even want more from the system. I think I want the current heirlooms stuff that isn't really picked. Like, I know some people grab the Shroud of St. Lazarus, which 20 points gives the regiment plus 1 resolve and fearsome special roll. I'm like, yeah, that's not bad. It's 20 points. Like, that could have been a banner. Could have been 2 banners. Like, stuff like that. Gilded Rampart, give you Iron Discipline. Like, you could protect your size with other regiments. Like, you don't necessarily need that 20 point upgrade. Like, that's banners. That's points you could spend elsewhere.
Gilded Rampart just seems like a weird way of turning your Household Guard into like a President's Choice Gilded Legion.
Yeah, like there we go. That's what I'm talking about. That's one of my issues with upgrades, is that the ones that are not impactful enough are not justifiable. Like artifact slots are a premium for your characters, and a lot of people play their characters dry because stands are just better for your points, and that upgrade has to be worth a stand or more to be worth it in your list.
Yeah. If we want to quickly focus on what constitutes bad banners or relics, I'm going to take us on a whirlwind trip through Wadroon.
Real quick here. Let's talk about Wadroon and its upgrades. Like, We'll start there just to kind of like give a better example, because 100k is really weird, where it's like there's some top end guys and then everything else is like meh, like it's not really worth it, but it's not like this is just bad. Like there's like a corner case for all this, but there's some of them like I do agree. I think Wadroon has some just like stinkers.
Oh, let's I can just like, here's the whistle stop tour. Roar of the Tribe, 45 points. And what that lets you do is once per battle, the regiment that the character stand is currently attached to places a chant marker in the sequence. And then that regiment can immediately chant the battle cry, discarding only one chant marker, but they can count as chanting any tier of the chant. But it was recently clarified that not tier 3. At 45 points to get one tier 3 chant at one point in the game for one chant token, just barely worth it.
Yeah.
But that's garbage. That's a waste of time. That's 45 points for a discount you don't need.
Yeah, like, what the heck is your Fnatic one? What's the one that gives Fnatic to people?
Mantle of the Devoted.
Where the heck is that?
And that's not a cheap upgrade either, so that's over
30
in
points.
Talismans. Yeah, and then 15.
Oh, and it's infantry only. Oh my god.
Yeah, well, that's that's part of another
problem.
Set of problems that we just don't have time for. But so Death's Gaze, the classic.
Is this the impact? Yes, it's the impact one. Yes, please continue.
40 points, but this one is like on a giant brick of Braves. If you're actually getting those charges off, if you take the Death Chant, that'll be on base. Base 3, and then Glorious Charge up to 4. Like, those are good impacts, you know?
Yeah.
That's really not bad. So, like, if you build into it and you're able to control the board state enough that your anvil is getting to the charges, it's terrific, but it works best with the Braves, and they're an anvil. So it does have the double edge of trying to make you play a regiment the way you're not really supposed to. And because this faction is so expensive, you can't have an extra hammering anvil in the list.
Yeah, it's... I remember, I think it was like Apex Chinchilla, I was listening to his stuff, and he was like, Death's Gaze is kind of a trap pick. Like, it's not worth it any... I feel back in 1.5... it was worth it, but now not so much. You got other stuff.
I don't ever run it since 2 came out. Truthfully, like it's good if you can. Like it's fine, but I wouldn't run it.
Yeah, Wadroon has a lot of trap picks.
Yeah. Speaking of,
is it Scars?
Yeah, Scars of Endikar. 40 points for 1 point of evasion.
Here, hold on. I'm gonna make you feel like shit. 100k. Backnan token, 10 points, +1 to your evasion to max of 3. Same as Scars.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And there's very little.
Hold on. The regiment this character stands currently attached gets +1 to his evasion. Okay, that's why it's worth 40 points. Because Backnan token is only the character gets
only the character. Yeah.
Yeah. But still, that's a lot.
It's a lot considering most of the time it's going to be getting you to evasion 1 or 2 and not evasion 3. But even then, evasion 3 is not worth 40 points.
Yeah, but like Chosen Conquest, what's their evasion base? Is it 1 or 2?
Good question. It's been a while since I've played them.
Yeah, because I'm trying to see like Conquest. This regiment has +2 to its evasion to a max of 3 at tier 2.
Well, that's the thing. You don't need it for Chosen Conquest because they'll get up to their max evasion just through the chant that they're always going to be popping off.
So, hold on. I'm trying to...
Yeah, because they're base evasion 1.
Yeah, so you're always popping off Conquest anyway.
Yeah, so they're going to go up, and it's +2 evasion on the Conquest chant. So they're always going up to their max without you sinking 40 points into it.
Yeah, and this is a banner, so you can't put it on a T-Rex and then chant Conquest to get into evasion 3. You're putting this on like someone else to try and do 40 points to get +1. You're making a poor man's Chosen a Conquest for 40 point upgrade. Like,
yep.
Yeah, Isn't that great?
Nope. And I mean, the hits keep rolling. The Bloodhorn, 30 points to friendly regiments within 8 inches of the character standing can reroll their charge rolls.
What's your banners?
Yeah,
8 inches. Like 8 inches is not that big. Like Noble Lord, it used to be 6. Now it's 8 for his Best of Men. What's way better, but it's still not a huge bubble.
It's essentially at that point you're blowing a regiment on just standing in the right point between multiple regiments to get 30 points worth of value out of this. Trash. Beads of Death they actually just fixed. Now it gives you Tenacious.
Oh, thank goodness. 25 points for that? That's good.
For the regiment, yeah. That's perfectly worth taking.
You can put that on a character riding an Apex or whatever.
Yep. You can do a lot with that. High of the Silent Hunter has always been good, except that you need Bastion, and it's stuck on the Predator. If it weren't for being confined to the Predator, I would say it's perfectly worth its cost. Killmark's garbage. It's just +2 impact.
Oh yeah,
regiment for 20 points.
Yeah, that's way too many points for just +2 impacts on monster regiments. Like, because you have to buy the rider rule. Like, not Elder Bronchoscopes. I think it's probably a mastery, to be honest.
Yeah, it is.
Tauntor Riders 5, Apex 5.
Yeah, they're all 5.
And then you have to then spend another 20 just to get +2 impacts. Like those monsters are not their job isn't to be impact people. They're get in there. Like the Apex wants to like chew some people up and kill them before they like as a second or third wave. The Tauntor wants to get in there and use its bulk as an anvil and just kind of like smash some people. You're not really relying on kill marks, and I've seen people like Wadroon players trap pick into kill marks.
Yeah, 100%. Heartsplit Draft is
+1 for 5. Yeah, whatever.
You have 5 points left. You take it. It doesn't matter. Brood. It's very
45. That's so expensive.
Yeah, it's super expensive, but once upon a time it enabled some goofy turn to objective marker kills, but I don't think it's worth that amount of points in almost any scenario. Especially since all you're getting is like the march is just to make it so that it can march with Raptor Riders, so no real benefit there or advantage. And then you're just getting Brutal 2 and Impact 4, which unfortunately is going to still, be on 3s, maybe 4s tops. So.
And you can't even take. Well, no, you could long lineage into kill marks and get. There you go. That's the combo.
Yeah,
that's
Impact
60,
6.
That's 65 points for one character.
On Clash 2. Yeah. No, I guess it would be Clash 3, but still. Because the character is still very low Clash for the circumstances.
Yeah, welcome to the impact game from Cribs and Towers.
Yeah.
You want this to do good, and you're just like, ugh, Clash 3 on impact's not great. You need them to hit, to do damage. Yeah, there's like, I don't know. What's decent in Wadroon here? What's some of your better picks? Because, like, we just went through a lot of okay to not great. Garbage. What's some decent stuff?
I mean, two of them we covered. So the top ones, I would say, like, Death's Gaze, kind of. Beads of Death is solidly a good one. Beast Drums, 25 points to get +1 attack and flurry.
Oh yeah, no, that's not bad.
That's not bad, because you can put that, you can very easily get that onto a Clash 2 character, and that gets to be, not Clash, but Cleave 2, or Cleave 1. And with Flurry, and the extra attack, it's really not bad. Kiss the Dillosaur.
You use that on me.
Oh yeah, it's never a bad way to spend 20 points.
Oh, Tribal Spear. Let's talk about that one.
Tribal Spear.
I heard that sigh.
Such a piece of shit.
Go ahead.
20 points. You get +1 attack to its attack characteristic for each chant marker in the sequence. So this it's bad in so many ways. Like, to get any advantage of it on the regiment activation, you have to be at 1 token and then choose not to chant to get +2 attacks, and it costs you 20 points.
Well, you could have 2 in the pool, draw the character, scream to 3, duel, entourage and the regiment spend.
That's so complicated for something that's
For 20 points.
Yeah, or for just an extra like 300 points, you could bring a drum beast, and then you would be able to do your
Nonsense.
extra 3 attacks for the low price of 350 points net. Mantle of the Devoted is a good one at 30 points because it gives you Fanatic. So but honestly, it's one of those ones where you would think that it would be best on like a flashy unit, but the best application of it is just on slingers.
Yeah, isn't it Conquest Slingers where you're just like, gotta go fast, and you just run up the table with like +3 speed and evasion. You're just like, eat a dick, and then shoot.
You can run up the table, you can take aim, shoot, and then fall back. You do all sorts of goofy stuff with it. It's great.
Yeah, you can put a Predator in there, and he has fire in advance, so you can move up, shoot, and back off, do whatever you need to do. There's stuff, and then then the third you get Fanatic, right? So you get a third activation, so you just really go.
Yeah, you can go crazy.
I mean, double march and shoot, or march, take aim, shoot. Well, yeah, no, there's a lot of combos. Mantle's still good, but it's really like not being able to use on monsters or Cav anymore. Just kind of kicked it in the crotch way too many times.
Yeah, I mean that's a bigger problem with the faction at the moment, but Mantle is definitely worth taking a lot of the time. The Arcane, basically everything else is trash. There's really not much to say on the matter or to do there, so that's the thing. There's so I would say there's 1, 2, 3 definitely good relics you can take, and 2 that are like maybes.
Yeah, my common theory as I kind of like went through different factions at one point was there's about 5 relics that you're going to be looking at when you build lists for each faction. Well, it's not bad. Like City States has such a lack of relics. But other factions like Wadrin 100k have a ton of relics, and some of them are just like really not worth it. Like I'll do 100k right now just because I have it open. I can talk about it. Cassandra Steel is 40 points. It gives dread to the regiment, so if any enemy regiments lose Inspire into it, it's not bad. I like it to make a defensive brick, but it is 40 points, and there's a better first pick for 40 points, and that's the Armor Dominion for the loss of Cleave and Smite when stands are touching the character stand. This one's pretty good. Yeah, see, there you go. That's the award winner right there. So it's really good. Standard to Steel, I feel, has kind of fallen off a bit because you don't have to take the retinue, and you're like, I took... Like, you used to take retinue 1 through 3, and then you'd also get another upgrade through it, and you could take banners, so it's like, well, might as well grab Standard Steel. But lately, it's kind of falling off. It's as the game developed, more and more people are realizing stands are the better way to go. And if you are going to take an upgrade, you want to take the best for what you're doing. So it's in competition for 40 points to Armor Dominion. Regalia the Empire is very specific to Household Guard. They gain Dauntless, so they're always inspired and can never break. For 25 points, specifically for Household Guard, it's really good because they can never break. You can always heal them. They're always inspired, so you can do a bunch of stuff to get Household Guard to like Clash 4 or reroll 6s with a bunch of different upgrades from the character and their officers. So they'll just output a ton, especially for 25 points. It's a kind of, if you're running Household Guard, you're kind of grabbing Regalia. Guild of the Rampart and Shroud of St. Lazarus. They're not bad. St. Lazarus a little bit better at 20 points for the +1 resolve and fearsome. Gilded Ramparts is the discount Gilded Legion. Like, I don't know. I just take Gilded Legion or set myself up to prevent flanking. Like, something's got to go wrong if I'm getting a big brick flanked like that. It's not Gilded Legion. For armors, Armor Dominion's really the big one here. Like, you got Indomitable Plate, Baka Token, and Mask. So Indomitable Plate gives like +1 wound, and defense for 15, not bad. But like, this is dueling stuff, and if you're building a dueling character, it's kind of like, you want your upgrades to do stuff for you. So I don't really look at Indomitable Plate very often. Baka Token, I would only take on the Order of the Sword just to get him to Evasion 3 for shits and giggles for 10 points. That one's not bad. Mask is reroll failed defense, like whatever, it's 10 points. Kiss Farewell, I have a little bit of an issue. I think it's a little too pricey at 30 points for Barrage 3, range 8P, range 18, and Deadly Shot. For 30 points, I feel like that's a lot. Because a lot of characters, unless you're a chapter mage, have the volley to really use this effectively. I know people throw it on the Imperial Officer when he's with other ranged regiments. I just, to be really honest, just not bother throwing a Kiss Farewell on the Imperial Officer, because Volley 2 really sucks. Chapter Mage at Volley 3 is kind of the way to go. But it's 30 points, and it's 35 for another Standard Crossbows. Just grab the other Standard Crossbows. You're getting 3 shots, range 18, AP 1. Deadly shots basically equals to AP 1. So just get more stands, more wounds. The other ones here, like Lorien Lance for 10 points is pretty good, but you're only throwing that on the Mountain Noble Lord of the Crimson Tower, because it's +1 reroll impacts and brutal impact 1 or +1. Flesh Cleaver is just a nice little 15er. Because of Deadly Blades, you basically just give yourself AP 1. That's what it roughly translates to in reroll for Fiend Hunter. Unwrought, reroll successful defense. Brute Regiments, reroll successful defense from hits from this character. This is literally if you have 5 points left over. I wouldn't grab Eye. It's 35 points for reroll 6s on your range attacks. 100k is quantity over quality. You just shoot more. Like, it's 35. Just get another stand of more crossbows. Oliphant's Roar. Gives Glorious Charge. Real good, but you're only doing this if you're grabbing a Death Star of Crimson Towers or Household Knights, so it's very specific. If you're not doing that, don't grab it. Doesn't work on infantry. Finite Star, I don't even know what this does. Oh, this is the draw event. The character counts as a wizard for enemy interference until the end of round. This is 15 points. This is not worth it. Furthermore, all enemy casters within 8 of the character stand suffer -3 to the attunement value instead of the usual 1. If my character's an 8, like, who are you? Yeah, like, this is too short of range.
Yeah.
Ladies' Favors, 10 points for the character stand gets Tenacious. Okay. Mantle St. Nick, 10 points for Devout. Okay, you're only grabbing Mantle St. Nick if you're running a Theist Priest Warlord. But he's not very good, so I want to grab this. 20 points for Chapter Scroll, where your character stand projects an enemy interference range of 16 rather than 8 inches. Focus is better, and this is kind of always the point. It's at 20.
Yeah.
Hopes and Prayers is the revive for Theist Priest. It's 20 points. It's not worth it. Elysium Fragment at 20 points is worth it, but it's only for the Theist Priest with a massive unit of militia of like 8 or 9 stands, with Relentless Drills, with a Servite, Theist Priest Bless, draw Theist Priest, activate Elysium Fragment, bless yourself, get the charge, blow up a regiment. That's it. It's the classic Smite Bomb. If you're not, because only the Theist Priest and Chapter Mage can do it, it's only on the militia. The militia are very susceptible to dying because they're militia, so it's very corner cases. So a lot of these artifacts in 100k are very corner cased for what they're doing, and it's like, if you're bringing Household Guard and you're bringing a bunch of them, grab Regalia. If you bring an Imperial Officer with Gilded Legion, bring Armored Dominion. If you're bringing a Death Star of Household Knights or Crimson Towers, bring Oliphant's Roar. But like, if you're bringing a Smite Bomb, grab Elysium Fragment, because that's what you're doing with the Smite Bomb. But a lot of this is just kind of like, man, you're gonna get more out of other just taking more stands. Like, they're very specific and they're not that great for their points. Yeah. Combat, Tip of the Lance is 35 point. This, like, a lot of this is very across the board for a lot of things, but I'm going to talk about a couple of these. Tip of the Lance gives you Wedge, which gives you Cleave +1 when you successfully charge. It's 35 points. It's a lot of points, but this is kind of going into that Death Star of Cav Regiment. You're only taking this on Household Knights, and it's just kind of like, okay, cool. I've kind of stopped using it just because it's expensive and you can spend those points better. Art of War, it's 30 points. Like you can, it's kind of like the poor man's strategic stack. It's not really worth it. Eccentric fighting style is kind of fun. I've seen that one used a bunch for +2 attacks and reroll filled hit rolls, but also reroll successful defense for 25. 25 is a little expensive. I got points left over. I've kind of got the archetype of my army done. I'll grab it. I do like it when it is there. I don't really expect the Noble Lord to kind of duel. I'm throwing this on a foot Noble Lord, but like, yeah. Lastly, Frontline Tactician gives you forward force, which gives you flank. You can only put on infantry. It's 20 points. Imperial Officer already has it. I don't mind it. If I have 25 in a Noble Lord, I'll take Eccentric Fighting Style. If I have 20 points left over, and more than a couple mediums, I don't mind this one. It's not bad. Like, yeah.
Forward force is a good rule.
Yeah, it is a good rule, and it's like for 20 points, it's kind of worth it. This one's I would look into this one if you're an infantry character on any faction that can take it. Yeah, and that's kind of really it on 100K. Like it's very specific what you're doing and how you're doing it.
Yeah,
and that was kind of my quick rundown because I realized I started doing all of it and I probably shouldn't have.
It's fine. I mean, now we're down another one. We'll flip it back to the Wadroon Masteries real quick because we didn't.
Yeah, sure.
Really get into those. I feel like most of these are more of the universal masteries that every faction generally has access to, as opposed to 100 Kingdoms, where it's a little more specialized.
Yeah,
so kind of knock these off as well.
I skipped the general ones.
Yeah,
I just went for the specific ones.
The big one is for Wadroon, Wasteland Adder is an okay use of 15 points to get an extra flank out of the deal. Long Lineage, you know what it is. Loyalty, I don't think is a good deal for 30 points for a faction like Wadroon that can get stuff out easily enough.
All regiments in this character stance warband have reinforcement rolls adjusted by +1. 6 is always it's warband only. What's kind of like the issue for 30 points? Like it's not on enough stuff to really pump it.
Yeah, an advantage on 4 regiments tops. Marksmanship is not a bad add-on for a Predator if you're embedding them in some slingers. That and Kiss the Dillosaur is kind of like the combo.
Yeah.
Because he can start to pick up stands on his own. And then you've just got Apex Master and Tontor Rider, which you will need to take if you want to ride an Apex Predator or a Tontor.
Yeah.
So they just confer the Rider special rule, which is basically just housekeeping to mediate how they work. The Arcane Masteries are basically who cares because you're still not really doing... Nothing that you're doing requires all of this. The one that requires chant markers is a waste. Focused is fine, but
yeah, like I feel if you have a wizard, you got 15 points, you're taking focused. If you want spells off, you take focused. Like
yeah, but even then, like
if I got one wizard, I'm for sure taking focused. If I got like 2 wizards, maybe one of them's getting focused, the other one might not get focused.
Yeah.
No, I think you can't take the same mastery. Where's the army builder? How many can I give a bunch of guys focused?
I don't think so, to be quite honest.
I don't think so either. I just want to clarify because sometimes I just build stuff and I know like intuitively how it works. So I'm kind of like, that's how it works. And I don't really see if I can break it. Focused. Focus can only appear once in the army. Yeah, you can't do it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Should I run through the Nords?
Yeah.
All right. So this will just be, since we're into the rhythm of just doing the good ones. So Raven Messengers, 40 points. Friendly regiments within 12 inches of this character stand can use the character stand's resolve characteristic after all modifiers instead of their own. Should the character regiment that this character stand is currently attached to is broken, a friendly regiment may not use this character stand's resolve characteristic. Furthermore, a broken regiment may not use this character stand's resolve characteristic as a result of the Raven Messengers. So basically, if you have this on your Coningir who's up to Resolve 5, then he gives Resolve 5 to every one within every friendly regiment within 12 inches, unless he's broken or they're broken.
So here's the thing. I really like this one. And the big reason why I like it is because it's a 12-inch bubble, unlike a lot of other things that are like 8 or like 6. There's a lot of 8s on these bubbles. It's like I find those bubbles too small, while this 12-inch bubble is good enough to affect a large portion of the board and affect multiple things, but not so big that it basically catches your entire army. Like 12 is a nice number to use.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I really value Raven Messengers over like the Eye of Icarus or that one what makes that 8-inch one you had that makes you reroll your charges. Like if that bubble was 12, it'd be like, okay, yeah, like I have a 12-inch bubble of reroll my charges for a bunch of regiments. Now I can save points on banners for sure.
Yeah,
Raven Messengers really punches that up, and I like it for that.
Yeah, it was overcosted when you had to take TAC 1 to get it, but in its current form, you can play around it and it's good because it'll like Resolve is definitely a shit stat for a lot of Nord units. So if you can shore that up, like you're gonna keep stuff in the game longer than it should.
Yeah,
and that is the best thing that you can possibly doing for Nords is just delaying the inevitable.
Yeah, so Raven Messengers is for sure one of the better options. One of those picks that if you got points and you want to do it, like it's very good. It's very strong.
Yeah.
What else you got?
So apart from that, I will make a special mention to Yarn Reaper.
Is that
anyway,
20-point armor?
It's the armor that gives smite. It's not something you'll always take, but it's something that you can leverage if you have 20 points kicking around. So I don't think it's an auto take, but I don't think it's completely worth dismissing either. Just because having a character who does smites in a duel, it's
a big
leverageable threat.
Yeah, it's a big deterrent. It's a good little. I do like that as well.
Yeah, Vinda is kind of the big attack. It's 40 points, but basically for every 2 normal hits your character makes during a clash or duel, you roll 1 additional attack. They're not auto hits, unfortunately, but it does increase the output if you have a Coningir with Dragon, where he's up to clash 5. Yeah, why wouldn't you?
You're just gonna get slaughtered, yeah.
Yeah, you're just gonna add a ton of hits to that.
I want to throw out Broken Blade for 15. A lot of characters don't have cleave in Nords except for the Blooded, so getting cleave on them is pretty good. It also has no drawbacks. Usually there's some drawback in a lot of stuff that just gives you bonuses. This is just you pay points, you get cleave, have fun.
Yeah, it's really underrated because having those 4 or 5 extra cleave attacks in your clash can actually go a long way in wearing down a regiment.
Yeah,
so
if you don't got, I don't know, if you don't have 40 points for Vinda the Dancer or the Red Bringer at 20, but you got 15 left over and you're it's a good one to grab just on a Coningir or a Jarl or something.
Yeah.
Or a Volva. It's just a nice little thing to have for sure.
I wouldn't have taken it before, but now with the changes to Bloodlust, Rio to the Redbringer, it's 2 attacks for 20 points. Just point in terms of raw point value, that's not terrible. It wouldn't be my first pick, but that's got some play now, I feel like, if you've got 20 points kicking around.
Yeah. So it's
most of the Nords are one where most of their good stuff is in the more technical options. So Horn of Hjulgar is something that you can do for 20 points that'll give. I think it's a fun trick to put on Bow Chosen because then they're 1 smite and trigger rapid volley.
Yeah, I hate it.
Yeah. Mistcolor's Raiment, that one, and there's another defensive oriented Nord.
It's the banner. It's the figurehead of Nagaflar.
Yeah, they're both trap picks.
Oh, really?
I don't think.
Enemy perform a volley against the regiment attached to reroll successful hits and then reroll ones. Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think reroll 1/reroll 6s is net like it feels better than it actually is.
They're both 20. No. Wow. Reroll all of the range attacks for 20 points or just reroll enemy hits of 1.
Yeah. So I mean, you're probably gonna like with that.
Just pay the 5 extra points.
The only reason you would take that is in a mirror match against Bochosen, where you're going to be taking slights.
Yeah, so okay. This is such a decrease of power for 5 less points compared to the other one. Like, oh my god. Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's bonkers. Price silver kind of rules. Like, I know that I was just saying that you shouldn't take stuff that's reroll 1s or 6s, but at 5 points,
this is the best 5-pointer in the entire game right here.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely gotten extra impacts off those rerolls, so fuck it.
Yeah.
The arcane ones, so Herald of the Storm.
This got used a lot at Adepticon to shut people down.
Yeah, I feel like if you're going into a casting heavy meta, it's not a bad idea. In our meta, I don't think it's really super essential.
Well, hey, I'm playing like 4 Wizard Dwag. You can shut me down for a turn.
Yeah, I mean, now that you're doing that, that's more of a thing to look at. But the other thing is, most of the time, my one caster is the Valkyrie, like the Volva, and she's going to be taking Runes of Fate at 20 points, which is my favorite. Because if you take this along with her Mastery to give the Valkyries Bastion, they go up to Defense 4 Blessed, and then they drop one of the successful hits that actually goes through. So, like,
it's good.
That really slows down killing them in a big way if they're already blessing their Defense 4 or defense anything with Blast, honestly.
Oh, can we talk about a trap mastery pick?
Yes.
Is it Lessons of the Jotun War?
Yeah.
So this one's 40 points. What's pretty steep. Enemy regiments in contact with the front arc of a regiment this character's stand is currently attached to lose the impact X special rule. So you don't get impacts against one character, and from the front arc. Like, if you're on a horse, go somewhere else and hit them from the side. Like, that's really my it's just a waste of points. I feel it's way too expensive for what you're getting out of it.
Yeah, I mean, against a bad 100 Kingdoms player, you'll get a lot of play out of it. But
well, didn't you take it into me at one point, and I just like worked around you, and you're like, "This fucking sucks." I'm like, "Yep."
Yeah, I mean, I used it against skill in another game. Well, I had it in the list, and it just didn't come up. So
yeah.
Wealth of 100 raids seems like that's another trap pick. I don't think 30 points just to get Dauntless is really it.
Yeah, well, Household Guard one is 25, so this one's 5 points more cheaper. But I feel like Household Guard are a regiment that's set up to just have Dauntless because they're if you take a Noble Lord with them, you're running Best of Men, you're running Arms Master, like getting up to Clash 4, reroll 6s for one of those upgrades. Can't be broken, always inspired is just good for 25 points, especially if you're taking a big brick of them. While I feel like this would be better on like an Anvil unit, like Huskarls or Velks. But the Volva's taking the Bastion. Huskarl, like, I could see a character grabbing this on the Huskarls to have them always inspired and can't be broken, because Huskarls are wound 4, so they kind of just explode. Like, if you're wound 4 and you're kind of trying to be an Anvil, you just kind of explode at points.
Yeah.
And that is one of my issues with 100k is the advent of just mass wound 4 and trying to be an Anvil that way. Yeah. That's why Ash and Dawn, it's one of the reasons why Ash and Dawn are so good, because it's wound 6 and they just defense 4 base with blood. Like, they have so much going for them.
Yeah. Hunt's Instinct is the star of the show for Nord Masteries, to give a character fire in advance, or to give the regiment. That's you put that on the Blooded, you put the Blooded in anything, you're golden, baby.
Yeah.
Especially like in any of the range units, it's great in Bochosen to have that. It's great in Stalkers because they like you can hold a zone having the character embedded with the Jarl as your warlord, first of all, and then you can also have them, like, poke out in front of a regiment and then fire and advance back behind it afterwards. All those little horrible asshole conquest moves that everybody hates unless they're doing them. But yeah, Hunt's Instinct for 10 points. It's an auto win as far as I'm concerned if I'm taking a blooded.
Yeah, it's also cheap. It's really nice.
Yeah.
It's like one of the really good things going for that one. You're gonna have to talk about Watchful Eye of the High King because it's 25, but it's like you get a double duel, but you can never refuse duels.
How many duels have we done?
Even from the duel episode, even from the duel changes, I think I've thought about it doing it once, and I'm like, that would have been really good, but I forgot to do it, and I'm like, yeah, I don't really care. Like, it's
in a world where people duel, that would be probably a better ability, but as it is currently, it's just you can spend 25 points almost anywhere else and get more return out of it.
Same with Headhunter.
Yeah, everything else is dead. I've never used any of those, and I never will.
Let's go to Arcane. I think there's two in here we really want to talk about. Sack Lamb, 15 points. When this character stands removed as a casualty, all friendly regiments gain the Blessed special rule and end round. I feel like this is just thrown on a shaman because he can go in raiders or whatever, and they'll just die, and then you can trigger Sack Lamb early.
But you need a way to force that to happen when you need it to, because otherwise people will just ignore whatever you've put them in.
Yeah, like I feel if you're like a shaman with raiders, they're not like raiders are not very durable at all. You need to be watched out from being sniped before you're in position to use the blessed. So like if stuff is still moving at the table or not in position yet, and the shaman with it gets sniped out, that's kind of it. I wouldn't really put this in a Volva just because she's running an anvil, like probably the best anvil Nords has with all the Velks. So it's gonna take forever for her to die using it.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry on there. But
and the shaman's the only one who can take this. Who's the other pick? And the other issue is if you try and foresee engagement and like run up into someone's face, you got to make it so that they have to kill you to get past you to like get on zones or stuff. But if they're already on zones and you just run up in their face, they can just kill you last.
Yeah.
Or they can position yourself like I don't know. There's that I've seen it used very well. I've seen it used poorly. So
I feel like the best possible use case is when they have having raiders with a sacrificial lamb shaman, and you're playing against somebody who has lethal demise, because then you have some control over when it happens.
Force the Strix to charge you and then kill yourself on the Strix. Yes. Perfect.
Yeah, I mean, flurrying raiders into Strix are probably going to kill themselves off it.
Yeah. Also, Strix are Resolve 1. I found that out the other day. I was like, what? They're Resolve 1? Oh my god.
Love to see it.
Yeah, so it was really funny. For 15 points, I think it's a great pick, though.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well have 15 points.
It's worth it at that point.
Yeah.
You gotta work for it.
Volva with Runa Shielding is almost an auto. If you're doing a Valks build, it's 15 points. You get Bastion 1. Not much more to say about that.
No, good.
Yeah.
I have Dwegholm up.
Okay.
Well, let's talk about them. So, 40 points. Like the first one, 40 points of banners is until we have to. Where if a character stand attached, the regiment the character stand is in gets hardened 1 if they are on a zone. It's not hardened +1, so you're not putting this on Thanes. You're putting this on Warriors. If you're grabbing Warriors and want to anvil like that, just go grab Thanes. Like you could put this on a couple other things like Flame Berserkers, Wardens. Not Dragon Slayers. What else is infantry regiment? Those are the big two that I'm thinking about. Like, I think this one's too pricey for what it's doing, and it's not just you get hardened 1. You have to be on a zone for hardened 1. I'm not gonna have a huge amount of things to say about Dwegholm because I'm still learning them, but there are a couple things I'm gonna pick out. I'm just picking out the 40-point one because it's just kind of a trap pick.
Yeah.
Miniman's Desire for 30 points, add +1 to your resolve characteristic and gain fearless. Another trap pick. Dweg usually have pretty good base resolve. on things that are going to be fighting and wanting to use that resolve to stay alive. Like Flame Berserkers are 5, Hold Thanes are I think like 4, Dragon Slayers are 4, like, and you can run them in a brick that can just get them to 5, or you can run a character with 4 base and then have 3 stands, you're already at 5. Like another trap pick. The Crown for 20 points giving you burnout. I don't think I've seen anyone ever grab this. 15 points for Arena Champion doesn't seem too bad. Give character Flurry, but it is 15 points.
No, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Champion's Horn seems decent too.
I gotta go down. Regiment, this character stand contains at least 4. The character stand is +2 its attack, 15 points. Yeah, it's not bad. I don't mind that at all. Steel Enhancements, that's totally a dual thing because it gives the character stand Hardened 3. I wouldn't grab this. Hold Ray is good enough to kill. Then it's just a couple dual ones. Some that are pretty minor. For weapons, 40 points. The character stand gains Cleave 3 Dragon Herd, the Dragon Killer Sword.
I think
this one's actually good if you put a hold ray with it in a block of initiates, because the initiates will hold with their defense 4 and high resolve and benefiting from the ray, and the ray will just kill everyone with Cleave 3. So he's
I know that
he's kind of pulling a conning gear at that point. What's up?
I'm gonna get hate for this one. To me, going from Cleave 2 to 3 is not nearly as valuable as going from 1 to 2.
Yeah, but the hold ray is going from 1 to 3.
No, that's fair. But so the overarching point is I've noticed a lot of people in the Discord say Cleave 3 and their eyes turn to dollar signs, but it's like Cleave 2 is you're going to get nearly as much value out of some, like if you're trying to compare 2 regiments and one has Cleave 2 and one has Cleave 3, they essentially are the same.
Yeah, there's not a whole like Cleave 3 really works better on stuff that is hardened because you're gonna get through the harden, you're gonna start hitting the defense. While Cleave 2, if they got hardened 1, you're only gonna be hitting the defense a little bit. If you're Cleave 1, the harden takes you out. It's kind of there. Like, while it's just auto-killing things that are defense 3 or less, what is a lot of the game, a lot of things in the game are defense 3 or less. And
that's all well and good, but like...
Defense 1 isn't much better.
Yeah, sometimes the speed of or the TTK between like going into something's defense 1 and defense 0 is like less than a turn, so like...
You can also put this weapon on, like, the Argent Killua, who has 5 attacks, and now he goes from Cleave 0 to Cleave 3.
Yeah, that's definitely...
I've been talking...
Still not worth it 40 points, I feel like, because that's a stand.
Yeah, but when I've talked to, like, Ben or Brian about this thing, or, like, seen from them talking is... This thing is you're basically putting like a killy polemark in a unit of hoplites, and the hoplites are the ones who are not doing damage. It's the polemark. Like the polemark has a lightsaber, which Cleave 4 as an upgrade for like 40 or 50 points. It's the same idea, but with Dweghome.
Yeah.
So you're not like taking Dragonburn with a hold ray and throwing him in Dragon Slayers. Complete waste of 40 points. Spend that on something else. Putting a hold ray with Dragonberg in a unit of initiates, you've just recreated hoplites in Dweghome. You're gonna have a fun time. That's the plan for it. That's why it's worth 40 points.
Yeah. I'm still not sold on it costing 40 points even in that scenario, but I'm closer to being sold on the idea than I was when we went into this.
Yeah, that's fine. Cathodic Flame, 30 points. Emmy Sans reroll successful resolve test when suffering wounds from characters. This also applies to spellcasting actions. This is the fireball like if you have a fire mage, slap this on. You roll 7 dice and make 7 successes and hit someone with 7 AP2s, and then tell them they have to reroll their successes. You can watch them just fade away. That's it's also if you're putting this on the Warlord Fire Mage who's doing this and like Flame Wall or the other spell he has. You're just causing problems. If you're like, I would say this is a complete buy-in if you're grabbing a fire wizard for sure. Not so much for a magma wizard, just because of how low the impact of pyroclast is. And
so
And also one of your spells is going to be hindering terrain, so you're not getting the double cast with the double resolve reroll.
I would argue that almost every relic and mastery in the game could go down between 5 and 15 points and become
15.
eminently more playable in some cases.
Yeah, there are some.
But Chthonic Flame probably needs to go up.
Yeah, this is fucking ridiculous.
That's an insanely good...
Yeah.
Considering what 30 points gets you else in other parts of town, that's an insanely good deal.
Back to the Wadroon Master, like, upgrades. Yeah. Just to be depressed.
Yeah, let me show you what 30 Wadroon dollars gets you.
It's like Zimbabwe dollars at this point.
Yeah.
It's like
so 10 million for this. That's not just a good ability, that's an insane ability.
Yeah. Perfect Balance is a dueling one. For 25 points it's like too much. It's nice, but it's dueling. What is the other one here? Oh, Gifted in Flame is another one. This is a talisman that kind of pops up every once in a while. Character stand gets +1 to evasion characteristic. Okay. Furthermore, the regiment the character stand attached to gains the Aura of Death +1 special rule to a max of 2. This isn't bad. Doesn't work on Flame Berserkers, sadly, because they're already Aura of Death 2. Can work on some other guys, but I think the Magma Officer... I'm just going to scroll all the way to the bottom. I think he just gives Aura of Death 2 as well. Herald of Magma? Yeah, he gives Aura of Death 2, so... I've seen this one grabbed, but I don't see it very often just because it has that Aura of Death 2 restriction on it. And a lot of things are usually Aura of Death 2 base. And if you're grabbing that one, you're also grabbing... I'll just skip ahead... Is it Memory Breath? Yeah, you're grabbing Memory Breath, which is another 10 points. The regiment gets Aura of Death +1. So you're spending 25 points to get Aura of Death 2 on something else. While a lot of things that already have Aura of Death 2, you're just grabbing Memory Death to go to Aura of Death 3.
Yeah.
Like it's... So Graft of Flame kind of comes up, kind of doesn't. Or sorry, yeah. That's what's going on there. What else is in here? Fearsome, don't care. A draw event that gives all friendly command stands +1 to their attack rolls until end of round for 10 points. Okay. Character stand and the regiment for 30 points. You get a draw event where the character stand and the regiment gains the Flawless Strike special rule. With the Entourage ability, that's much better, but it is 30 points. I think it's basically like having Cleave 1. It's fine. It's Heart of the Mountain good. Heart of the Mountain, I believe this draw event can only once per battle. The character stands ignores enemy interference adds 1 to the attuned values of their spells. Heart of the Mountain's not bad. I've seen that one picked on like Hellbringer riders. So to help them cast better. There's another one in here. What was the one? Was it the Flame Flicker? Gifted in Flame is the one that gives you the Aura of Death one. Graft of Flame. This is the other one that's I see pulled. 15 points. The character stand may choose to roll 1 additional die when performing a spellcasting action. Each time the character stand rolls an additional die as a result, the character upgrade may pass an unmodified morale test or suffer a wound. I've seen this one used. Just get more spells off. If your character is safe and you can kind of spend their health as a resource, why not? There's very few things that kill the character before it kills the regiment, so this is kind of a safe pick, especially for 15 points. So, yeah. Memory Breath good, Graft of Flame good, Heart of Mountain's not bad. Gifted in Flame I think might be a little bit of a trap pick. Dragonburn, the Cleave 3 sword is pretty good. And then Arena Champion Horns, kind of like, they're not bad. So there's some decent stuff in here, but like there's stuff that's like a little too specific on the dueling end. Kind of like why it isn't taken. For retinues, Forged in Conflicts 30 points for Iron Discipline. 100k get that as a banner for 20. Not worth it. Call the Minomancers. The character stand counts as 2 more stands for the same class for the purpose of seizing an objective. I believe this is actually pretty good because you can put the character stand with Call of the Minimancers, because now the character stand counts as 2 more stands of the same class. Oh, never mind, it's class, so it's be medium or heavy. So you can't put him in a light, and he doesn't count as scoring stand. So never mind, I was wrong. Relentless Blows. I'm just kind of going through this to see if there's anything else decent. There's like the different riders. Flaming Oratory, 30 points. The regiment this character stand is currently attached to gains Tenacious. This is only for the Argent Killua. You basically grab this on him and Flame Berserkers or Wardens. It's good. Maybe a little expensive at 30. Could go down a little bit, but it's still really powerful. Focused is good. Lava Shots, characters with the X special will gain precise shots. It's 10 points, so it's not bad, but it like I don't really see it picked that often. It's kind of good there. Then there's like Hellbringer Drake riding and the different rider rules. So they got some stuff, but a lot of this is decked towards dueling, surprisingly. Like perfectly balanced at 25 for +1 attack, and enemies cannot use Quicksilver Strike. It's not really worth it there.
Yeah.
The Flame Flicker is 20 points. During a duel, enemy character stands restricted to their evasion is 0. It's the only one in the game I know of. Not really worth it. Like, it's stuff like that. Like, there's only a couple good picks, and those are kind of them. Probably some more better Draghome players, they'll pop in and be like, "Oh, you missed this one. It actually does this." I'll be like, "Okay, cool, sweet." But like, this is what I'm seeing and kind of hearing and kind of grab. I was like, yeah, these are good. And there's other ones where are just like, yeah, they're okay, but not really worth it and too expensive.
Yeah.
What do you want to do next?
Well, I seem to have Spires up.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm gonna choose City States for me. Okay, Spires. Tell me about them.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So Spires.
This mess.
Yeah. There's a whole lot of stuff going on here.
It's a mess.
So instead of relics, they get mutations, which are basically relics. So Ferromantic Override, once per battle, target friendly regiment within 6 inches of the character stand. Can immediately perform a free out-of-sequence Clash, Volley, or March action. This action does not cause the regiment to count as having activated this round. That's 60 points, but that's bananas.
It's good. It's very expensive, but it is totally worth it and very good.
Yeah, it's worth taking. Cascade Degeneration, 35 points. Character stand gets Aura of Death 4.
The regiment gets Aura of Death 4.
Oh, excuse me. Yeah, the regiment.
It's incredibly good. Probably needs a little bit of a tuning down, either more expensive or Aura of Death like 3 or 2 or something. Like it's at 4, you're just getting a ton of hits. I know Carl threw this on a high clone with in a unit a massive block of force grown drones, and it's just like he wasn't never going to kill you with the force grown drones. He was going to kill you through Aura of Death.
Yeah, it's like, nasty.
4 auto hits is better than Carl trying to roll those hits.
Yep. Degenerative Aura gives lethal demise, and enemies regiments in contact with the regiment can't heal. Probably not worth it compared to the other two.
Cascading Degeneration is just for 5 points more is just better.
Yeah.
Or you could do both.
Yeah.
You could totally, I think there's a way to take more mutations. You could totally just take both on a Biomancer and be like,
I think you can. Biotic Hive is another one that I see people running a lot. 30 points to get +2 barrage and deadly shots.
Yep. It's the reason why it went up in points, because it's freaking ridiculous.
Yeah, it's nasty. Apart from that, I've seen Adaptive Evolution at 20 points. I don't know. I feel like that could have some play, but I've never seen it used too effectively.
So I played into Carl, who uses this thing. So basically, the character comes on the field, and every time its card is drawn, add +1 to its Clash, Volley, Resolve, or Defense to a maximum 4 until the end of the battle. So basically, he is turning a High Clone Executor or like a Biomancer or whatever. He's increasing all the stats, like Defense and Resolve, to 4 first, and then maxing out the Clash to 4. What this is doing is making the character very hard to duel out because its stats are just good. And usually the character is running Adaptive Evolution, It's running Cascading Degeneration and maybe Ferrotantic Override or Degeneration or whatever. Like, it's basically there to keep the character safe so that the various mutation upgrades can still go off without fear of the character just being dueled out and killed. That's what that is doing. It's dueling protection.
So yeah, apart from that, I'm skipping over a bunch that I don't think were particularly exciting.
I'll talk about marksman variants. 20 points to get Arcane 22 Barrage for it. Yeah, become a, and then what? You take that with Bionic Hive for another 30, and you become a super marksman clone.
Yeah.
He just rips off 2 of the arms, or sorry, like 6 arms from 2 different marksman clones and attaches it to himself. It's like, I am the shooter now.
Yeah. Exactly.
Redundant biometric structure, 20 points to get +2 wounds. Whatever.
Nope.
20 points for Tenacious. During duels, whatever. Like, yeah, there's some in here that aren't great, but there's also some that are just like really good.
Yeah. Avatar projection, if you want to, it has a use case for if you need to put them into a unit of brutes.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I think Sentry Augmentation. Does that one come up? This character stand is drawn like the top card of your opponent's command stack. You may then draw an after your next card. Instead, you choose to forgo your character stand after and place the character stand card on the top of your command deck. This effect can only be used once per round. I feel like Nate has used this before on me, and I was like, okay, cool, here's my card, and he was like, interesting, and I'm like, yeah, it's very obvious what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So I feel like you can ignore this one. It's 10 points, not bad, but you could probably just ignore it.
Yeah.
If you start I guess understanding the mind game of the command deck between the two players. Like, there's a couple different things, like understanding the scenario, understanding moving your stuff and getting to the proper position, understanding the baiting of the command deck between the two players of what they're most likely going to do. Like, if you can figure that out and apply it properly, you don't need this, but sometimes it's fun.
Yeah.
Want to go into Mastarys?
Yeah. Some of the Mastarys, I'm just trying to see ones that I've actually dealt with. Attracting pheromones, it's 20 points for flank. It's probably not really worth it.
It's the same. I'm pretty sure it's the same thing as the 100k one. 20 points for flank.
Well, Dream gets it for 15.
You shut up. The rest of your stuff is bad.
Yep. Yeah, so I got to take the wins where I can. Let's see. A lot of these are kind of whatever.
Eagle Eye, I don't think I've ever seen.
No, that's a waste.
Character stand may reroll failed hit rolls a 6 when perform a volley action with this regiment. Like, just the character? Okay.
Yeah, additional neural receptors is essentially better long lineage.
Yeah, especially for 5 points, you can choose up to 2 additional. So you're getting 3 upgrades for 5, but it's high clone executor only.
Yeah, still though.
It's pretty good.
And then Plague Lord to give Aura of Death 6, but it's just the character stand, so I don't think that's really.
Yeah, but if you're already taking that and Degeneration, Cascading Degeneration, you have the character stand up front, you're just getting hit by more Aura of Death.
Yeah. That's fair.
Because then you'd also, what is it? A couple of the specific ones for there's a bunch of healing ones that are specific to Spires. There's also Mastery of Flesh for 40 points that are where you can perform double Biomancies and Ferromancies each round. So you get a lot of work out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Flesh Carver for 25 points, Biomancer. When a friendly regiment receives healing from a character stand, increase the healing by 1. For 25 points, it's maybe a little expensive just to get 1 more point. And then Synaptic Coordination for 15 points when performing the Bionic Renewal Draw event. Instead of rolling a d6 for the heal, the character stand heals infantry for 4 wounds and Brute and Cap for 3. So I guess it just makes it better if you're just rolling bad. So it's not bad at all. There's bring back stands for sure.
No.
Yeah. So there's Spires has a lot of actually good upgrades, but it also has, I feel like, way more upgrades than anyone else because the mutations are just one big list.
Yeah.
And a lot of these you're not grabbing, but it has some very good power upgrades that you want to build into a lot of the time.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's do city states. Starting with the standard of the last oration. This thing's 55 points. The command stand of the regiment this character stand is currently attached to gains +2 stance for the purpose of seizing. In addition, should the regiment be destroyed within range of an objective, that objective zone can be seized. The controlling player controls as seized it during the victory phase, so you just kind of have it. I remember this did something else before. I think it was like always inspire and charging or something like that. For 55 points for this, I think it's way too expensive. I'm pretty sure there's a battlefield order. Jeez, it just what is gain bravery? Where is it? Close the gap. Battlefield tactic. Find the shade. Unyielding. What does unyielding do again? I think that's the one where you control it, or is that the reroll 6s?
I think that's the you control it.
Oh, God damn it! I got to go back to the corporal book. Go to. You have too many U ones. Untouchable. So unstoppable, untouchable, unyielding. Enemy regiments cannot seize an objective that stands currently in range of. Is not active if the regiment's broken. Okay, so you kind of have sticky objectives and get +2. You're probably throwing this on a big brick of hoplites with a character. If that character is where is it? You Polamark? Yeah, Polamark. You already have come and get it. What gives you unyielding? Like, I think this is a trap pick nowadays and not really worth it for 55 points. It's way too expensive for what it's doing. I don't think it's. I like the idea and concept of it. It's just way too expensive. And also, you have better things for free, basically, because you're grabbing the character anyway. So the other one, though, that I do actually like is the Aristria. It's 20 points. It's a draw event on the character. Target friendly regiment with an 8 treats its total charge distance as march value +5 until end of round. The effect supersedes the limit of phalanx. So you still get phalanx, you get march +5. So you're usually going like 10. Maybe if you pull from the command stack, you're getting like 6 +5, so 11. It's pretty good, 20 points. I like it. The globe for 10 points. All friendly regiments with an 8 of this character's stand count as having Wizard 1 for the purpose of enemy interference. I don't really think you're grabbing this very often. It's 10 points, but it's taking up slots for other stuff that's kind of better. Like the charging one there I just talked about, the Aristra, is pretty good.
Yeah. Oh, I guess I was muted there.
Oh.
Yeah. Sorry. I was just continuously going like fart sound the whole time you're describing thermodynamic globe. I think it's good. So yeah. Bad.
There is the armors. We got the helmet, Crescendor's helmet for 35. Enemy stands in contact with the character lose the inspired special rule. It's just an enemy character stands participating in a duel against the character lose the Quicksilver and Flurry. You could have said just gain dread. Like, this is literally just dread.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you just say gains dread and then in addition, like, do this thing. So
why bother? Because nobody's gonna take it.
No, it's 35. Like, lose dread and enemy stands in with the character, so it's not dread because it's the regiment. So the 3 stands touching the character lose inspire. But for 35, that's not bad. I don't mind that one.
I probably wouldn't take it personally. But.
No, it's a little expensive, but it's like a worse version of Armored Dominion because it's only getting rid of inspired on 3 stands. Like, what the? Oh my god. Yeah, it's too. I don't know. I think this could go to 30 or 25, and then I would be like, oh, okay. Living Breastplate's a dual one. I don't care. It's 20 points. Athena Spear, it's 30 points. Character stand gets +1 attack and cleave 1. For half the price, in order to get cleave 1 for 15 points, so I guess +1 attack is 15 points, guys.
Yeah. Seemingly.
Yeah.
Blades of Equities.
Oh, that's 40. It's
good at 40.
Yeah, so 40 points. You get +1 clash, -1 to your attack, and cleave 4. So this is the lightsaber, everyone calls it. It's the same. I think that Dwag cleave 3 weapon was like 40 points. So this is very good. I believe this gets slapped on a polo mark, and he's in a unit of hoplites. And he's like, "Come and get me." Yeah, because he goes to attack 5, clash 4 at that point. Like, this dude's not going to be messing around. If he can get inspired somehow, he can go to reroll 6s. So this guy's really going to fuck someone up. Feather Blades is Quicksilver Strike for 10. Who cares? Like, whatever. Lighter Alloys. Okay, this one's good. 35 points. Character gains a draw event. Till the round, the infantry regiment this character is currently attached to removes -1 from its defense characteristics to a minimum of 1. Loses the Phalanx and Shield special rule, but adds +3 to its March characteristic. A regiment that had Phalanx special rule and lost as a result of the draw event may not enter a piece of garrison terrain. So if on a unit of hoplites, you go to defense 1. This is literally there to shoot you up the table. You use this as kind of like a nuclear option to force an engagement where you're like, okay, my opponent's there, he's kind of waiting me out. The character is the last the character in the hoplites are the last activation. I have more cards than my opponent or something. I'm gonna rocket up the hoplites into my opponent's face. Next turn, they're gonna have their shield and phalanx back, so if they charge me or I charge them, it's fine. The problem with this is like, don't get caught out in the open. Like, if you shoot up your hoplites, don't make it the thing they're shooting up. Make sure the things in front of them or any like things that can attack them or hit them has already gone. Like, watch out for shooting, watch out for magic. They'll see that happen if you do it too early and just be like, sweet, you're defense 1 now. I'm gonna put damage into you and wipe out as many of you as I can. But it's very powerful just to close the distance because it fixes one of City States' problem is kind of just being slow. Mm-hmm. So it fixes that, but there is a bunch of drawbacks. But if you play it right, it'll be very beneficial to you. So this is a very good one. A lot of City States players take this.
Yeah.
There's another draw event for 20 points until around the regiment's character status can attach against Tenacious for 20 points. There are upgrades that just give you Tenacious that is not a draw event. This is the inscriptions of impact resistance. Like, God damn it.
Not terrific.
Yeah. Inscription of Balance for 10 points. Enemy spellcaster chooses regiment to target a spellcasting action. The regiment counts as 3 stands larger for the purpose of scaling.
Nope.
Pass. Yeah. Eidolon, there's modifications, and Eidolon only. He gets some different characteristics. Eidolon only. What else? When a friendly Promethean successfully casts a spell, the regiment this character stand is currently attached to receives the benefits of the spell regardless of range. The Promethean is the hammer one. So he has trouble already, so no, pass. Hephaestian alloys. Enemy stands in contact with the character stand reduce their aura of death rule by 2 for as long as they remain in contact. It's 10 points. Like, one.
I mean, against fires, it's great. But
against Dwag and Old Dominion, but I don't think I've ever seen anyone take that before.
Yeah.
Blade, Inscriptions, Lighter Alloys, Athena's Spear, Aristria. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe the helmet. Like, City States has a problem of it doesn't have very many relics. And also, a lot of them are not that great. They're too hyper specific, and so the generalist ones are just being grabbed.
Yeah.
So City States doesn't have a very good relic option. Like, I don't even know if I want to take standard of last orientation. Like, this used to be good. I remember it being very good, and now it's kind of not worth it. Especially at 55 points, it's way too expensive for 55 points.
Yeah. In terms of masteries, though, Expert Scouts at 50 points is not terrible for what it is. I mean, friendly infantry regiments that don't have phalanx coming from reinforcements get Vanguard.
Yeah, there's it's infantry only, but there are a bunch of things in here. I think. Okay, hold on. I gotta go actually into the army builder. Fuck. Browse cities. This will just be easier for me to click through instead of scrolling. Ogma's good. Hoplites no. Phalanges, no. Sacred Band. Oh, you do have Phalanx. Well, you're not out yet, so I don't care yet. The 2 Satyr units are good, and the Thorakites. So there's 4 regiments that really benefit from it.
Yeah.
So Expert Scouts is not bad at all. It's pretty expensive, but if you can make use out of it, it's totally worth the cost. Combined Arm Drills. 40 points, auxiliary stances army gain the flawless strike special. This is way too expensive for auxiliaries. Like, most of the time I see 2 auxiliaries with the 2 hoplite blocks, and that's it. Sometimes I see a third if someone's running, like, the light regiment with the Thyron, Minotaur Thyron, the Cleave 3 guy. Like, this is a lot of points to basically buff 2 to 3 stands. Like, no.
Yeah.
Initiative. Once per round during the action phase, but before you draw a command card step, you may opt to activate a regiment from the strategic stack instead of drawing a command card from your command stack. Once the regiment has finished action, play passenger. So you spend 40 points to not have a double turn, but still draw the card out of the strategic stack.
Yes.
No. No.
Yes.
I feel like this is just bad.
Yeah.
Someone please tell me if you've taken this. Like, I don't see it. I feel like trying to reduce your army rules special rule is not the way to go. Yeah, there's not very many good picks in here.
No.
What else we got? What other factions have we not? We haven't done Old Dominion. And then what? Sorcerer Kings?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Old Dominion, my gosh. Do you want to do Old Dominion, or do you want me to do Sorcerer Kings? Or do you...
Yeah, I can do Old Dominion. I feel like in terms of what I've seen people take, it's a pretty short list.
Yeah.
So Sanctified Labaron seems interesting because it's just eccentric, but does a 40-point upgrade. You can choose one army list entry that's available to them as restricted and count as a mainstay. So it's not even really eccentric. It's just, and no, that sucks actually. I don't care about that.
No, so actually this thing's good.
Oh?
Yeah, so this is what you do. You grab a Strategos. You say, I'm going to make the restricted Praetorian Guard into mainstays, and you put like a 5 to 6 block of Praetorians with him. Then you grab I think it's Legito I Parambia, the thing directly diagonal on it in the PDF. It's 20 points. The regiment this character stands is currently attached. You gain the Aura of Death +2 special roll. And the Strategos, he has a special roll in here. Where is he? Going up. Fuck are you? From the front. The regiment this character stands is currently attached to count as class as light for the purposes of reinforcement rolls. So, that's the combo. Strategos, Praetorian with the Aura of Death. Come on turn 1. Rush up the board. You now have a medium that is tanky because they're just going to like double bash into 5 eventually after Dark Power accumulates. And anything that's going into them is just taking Aura of Death to the face. That's the strength of that one. That's why it's worth 40 points. Mm-hmm. That's why it's strong. It's basically... there's probably other ways to build it, but that's what's kind of going on with it.
Well, you got me.
You're welcome.
Better than it sounded.
Yep. But it was like the 3 combos because I think an Archimandrite can have up to 2 Dark Blessings. What the hell is it? Heretic can have 1. Strategos, I think he can take 2. Yeah, he can take 2 treasures. Like, who is it? Oh yeah, the Auxiliar can take 2. Like a lot of the Old Dominion characters can take more treasures and Dark Blessings than other regular characters from other factions would be able to take. So that's why they get to wombo these together into effectiveness.
Other than that, So they get, it looks like Old Dominion has to pay 25 points to give their regiment Tenacious.
Where's it?
That's Aventine armor.
Oh, it's down there. Yeah, I think that was better than the City States one. It was like on a draw event.
Yeah. But overall, in terms of the general Tenacious economy, you can do a lot better in other factions.
I just want to say, like, there's a couple things up here in the banners though that are kind of decent, but I don't think they like are picks people really take. Like, the Calestine banner for 30 points to get count as having inspired. It's not always inspired, so there's ways to get rid of it, but just having inspired what's from not charging is kind of decent, but it is 30 points. And then there's one that they can give flank to a regiment for 30. Like, you get like Old Dominion's getting that +1 from reinforcement roll, so this one's kind of not worth it, just because like your mediums are coming on 3s on turn 2. On turn 3, they're coming on 5s. Like, you kind of don't need it at all.
Yeah.
I just wanted to pop those up because it is something to talk about that should be stated.
But yeah, so Aventine armor, Tenacious, whatever. Armor of the Living Saint, it does give the character stand blessed, and Quicksilver Strikes, but I don't know.
You can't bless during duels, and it's kind of, but you can like, and it's only for clashes, so you can like when the character attacks, they get blessed. So I've seen this combined with I think Gladiator's a mastery, but like you can get Skurfung for 30 points, what gives you like Line Breaker and Cleave +1. So the regiment gets Line Breaker, what's pretty good, so ignoring Shield and Phalanx. But Cleave +1 with Bless is much better. Kind of getting into like the Kiliarch nonsense. Or the Blade of Kesseror, what's 20 points, where he gets +1 attack and Cleave +1 for 20 points compared to 30. So there's some. You can build like a killy character who just like rips apart stuff.
Let's see. So yeah, Skofnung, that's the one I always see people taking locally. So that gives the character stand Line Breaker and Cleave. Or sorry, the regiment gets Line Breaker.
Yeah,
and the character gets Cleave 1.
He also would get Line Breaker because he's part of the regiment at that point.
Yeah, that's fine. 30 points.
There's the Elithra, give her a mercy for 10. So this one's kind of funny because it's in 2 parts. The character gets +1 clash. In addition, when the character stand participates in a duel, it gains parry, counterattack, and cleave 1. So you don't get that cleave 1 unless you're dueling. But +1 clash for 10 points isn't bad either.
Yeah, for 10 points. Why not?
Unholy Sacrament for 30 points. You can select a friendly regiment. In their warband as target of their spells that have range other than self, even if they're outside of normal range. That's going on like an Archimandrate or a Hero Deacon, but then like the stuff you want to, I guess, cast spells on would be on like, I guess the Healy spell and like Bone Golems. That's a lot of points for that, where you could just have the character like sit behind the Bone Golems and do it anyway.
Yeah.
Consecrated Mire is actually pretty good for 25. You get Priest +X for where your pool tier is. So, of course, of the game, if the Wizard lives, like especially on an Archimandrate, you can get to like Wizard +3. I think you can get the Wizard to like +11 with a bunch of stuff. What's really funny.
That's bananas.
Yeah, no, this one's actually pretty good. And then for 10 points on the Hero Deacon, to put Dark Shepherd to range 18. I'm not sure if that's bad or not. I feel like you can just position yourself better so you don't need to take it. So yeah, there's some decent things in here. Some of them are kind of just like meh, like you're just not gonna take them, but they got some solid upgrades. I feel like a lot more than some other factions in the game.
Yeah, that seems like the case.
Yeah. For Dark Blessings, like this is their masteries. Kind Canarch for 40 points. When you get to tier 2, character stands all friendly regiments with an 8, count as having been infected by the Spired.
8-inch.
Yeah, like...
What are you going to do with 8 inches?
Yeah, it's not... it's way too expensive for that. Or a Malice, 40 points. The regiment this character stands attached against the Dread special rule. This Dark Blessing affects all friendlies. Regiments of 6 or less stands with an 8 if the Dark Blessing is on a Fallen Divinity. I know this is the one that's on a Fallen Divinities pretty often. As well as all stands gain Untouchable for 30. So yeah, there's a couple of these. I feel like I've seen the Fallen Divinity take all 3 of these. 80, 120, so it's like 420. Is it all the Dark Blessings just to beat up people? Well, it's not bad, but it's a lot of points. Like that's a regiment right there. That's another thing of Legionnaires.
Yeah.
There's a dueling one for 25, whatever. Gladiator, character gains Flurry, Deadly Blades, and Parry for 25. I feel like if you're pairing that up with the Blessed Armor, you might as well grab this for 25. What's the blessed armor at? Is also 25. You can probably just grab that and then Scorefung and you'll be fine. You don't need to double up. Because you have Flurry anyway, you don't need Blessed, because it's not used defensively. For Arcane, Unholy Mastery is 40 points. When they perform a successful spell action, cast with 4 more success, character perform additional free. I think I've talked about this one. It's not bad, but it's kind of expensive, and I don't think I've really seen it too often. There's 35 to gain the Dark Shepherd draw event to take it off the Hero Deacon. There's the Hero Deacon only for 20 points. When the Hero Deacon destroys a friendly regiment as a result of its Dark Shepherd ability, it gains additional 1 power. So that's not bad. I don't think I've seen that too much, because usually you just want to like farm your own regiment by healing and destroying it.
Yeah.
So, and make your opponent destroy it, because then at least it's doing something.
Mm-hmm.
And then Devout of Hadgel's like their version of Focus, so that's not a bad one to go. I'd throw that on Archimandrite. So I feel like they have better choices in their pool that just have better effects than a lot of other factions. I feel like there's fewer dead draws in this faction than other ones.
Yeah, I'd argue that OD, Sorcerer Kings, and City States, the newer factions with the newer design philosophy, all have tighter, more generally utile relics.
Yeah, I know we went over the relics and masteries for Sorcerer Kings. I haven't seen them played still yet, so I'm kind of still not like... I don't know if we need to talk about them really that much.
Yeah.
Like, we go over the red text for the changes. I'd feel fine with that and then kind of wrap it there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because I've already given my opinions on a lot of these, and the red text are the things that change, so I can just give my opinion on that.
Okay, I want to read the text for Power of Arden. Don't look at it. Just agree, and then we'll go through the list.
God damn it. Okay, fine.
Yes.
I'm waiting for you to read it.
Okay, we're gonna do that one first.
Yeah, like because okay. I'm gonna scroll down and see it, then read it.
Yeah. So the additional text for Pair of Arden. Additional.
God damn it! Fuck. Okay, so anyway, the banner of Elemental Domain is 30 points. It's changed. Elemental Dominance. Regiments with the Elemental special rule within 10 of the character stand gain the Unstoppable special rule. I don't mind that. It's better than the Wadroon one, but was 8. Yep. Also, there's not a lot of Unstoppable in Sorcerer King's faction on their elementals, because they're all like medium, or like they're all brutes basically. There's a lot of brutes. The only one that I think it is on the goals, what are I think have it innately anyway.
Yeah.
Then under weapons, we got the Salut with 20 points. Character stand gains the Bless special rule. In addition, when this character stand performs an elemental right action, select a ritual to prepare. The ritual starts with 2 ritual markers. I still think this is good. 20 points for starting with 2. Gaining Bless, keep you safe, or well, I guess not really for duels, but even attacks like the Raj or the. No, it'd be on the Maharaja or the Sorcerer. I feel like this Maharaja might want this, but if I recall, there's better options than this, so that might be a little bit of a problem. But it's not bad. If the Raj can start rituals, I think this would be a pretty good one on him because he's more fighty.
Yeah.
The Parv. Okay, so what does this actually do? Once per round, when a ritual command card is activated, activator may opt to remove the card from play and perform a free additional out-of-sequence spell casting. Okay, yeah. I remember we talked about this. For Mastarys, 15 points, the Mahut Regiment loses Barrage. In addition, the Mahut gains Terrifying 1. Yeah, this is when the Maharaja wants to ride a Mahut. Supposedly, the Mahut having a gun with the wizard on top was too strong. So they're like, we need to stop that. And I'm like, no, let him ride it with the shooty boys. Put the Paladin Queen on top. Put it more on top. Or put him in the hut or whatever. Like, you want that thing to shoot, you want him to cast, and you want the elephant to elephant.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, the hell?
So that's it.
Yeah, that's really it. I feel like we should get some games into Sorcerer Kings or whatever, see how they're really doing, and then come back to them as like a new world review or something. To really say like, there's not much out for them. If you want Sorcerer Kings content, I would strongly recommend reading Hannah's Brave Humans with Sticks. I think she's playing Sorcerer Kings right now. She will have a better knowledge and opinion than we will for it. So I just want to give a shout out to Hannah. Read her blog. It's pretty good. I every once in a while when I'm at work, I sit down and I read it when I'm on break. So it's pretty good. What do you overall heirlooms, all that stuff? Like, what after looking through this, what's your hot takes? Tell me about them.
Boys before toys.
So, what?
Boys before toys.
Oh,
like
Jesus
it's just
fuck.
most of the time, unless like there are generally a few build defining items that are worth taking, but other than that, you're almost always better off just putting more bodies on the table.
Yeah, I really agree. And a lot of the artifacts are just too specific, or just don't do enough, or just too expensive for what they're doing. Like, I would love to see an artifact redesign across the board for a lot of factions, especially the newer ones. Like Old Dominion, I feel like Sorcerer King's not a bad spot from what I recall from our Sorcerer Kings episode that for us, we recorded like months ago. But Old Dominion seemed pretty good. City States seemed very niche, like way too niche for upgrades compared to a lot of other factions that just had a volume. So their niche stuff went under the radar. But yeah, like what Drew needs, I feel like is the wooden spoon of upgrades.
Oh yeah, they need a lot of love.
Yeah, like even though City States doesn't have a ton, they just don't have a ton to begin with, so it's a little easier to get around. But like as we kind of went through it, it really was prevalent that there was like 5 upgrades, maybe 8 per faction that were something you want to take.
Yeah. Nords, I think, for like their upgrades need work, but you just want to take guys anyway, so for the most part, that's fine.
Yeah.
So the kind of faction that they are also determines how urgently they need those mastery upgrades, because some of them need it more than others.
Yeah, and there's some combos there that are like you want to grab the upgrades, you want to do these things. Like I know for like Old Dominion and for Spires, there's some really really good picks in there. While other factions, like I know for 100k, like there are some good upgrades. Like Armor Dominion is really good. Flesh Cleaver, Lorien Lance are a little specific. Like they're all hyper specific. So unless you're taking those things, you kind of grab them. But they are very good. But if you don't take those things, you can just run more bodies and be fine.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I would kind of like to see, like currently, if PB was to do like a hot fix, decrease the cost of some of these upgrades. Like some of them, they're priced appropriately. Like Armor Dominion for 40 points, I feel is priced appropriately. While other stuff I'm like, this is too expensive. Like Lorien Lance is hyper specific, and that's why it's 10 points, so you can get away with it. Flesh Keeper's 15, but I'm like, this thing could probably be 10 for just because really all it's giving you is like Deadly Blades and sometimes Fiend Hunter if it pops up. That's funny, but most of the time I'm just using it for Deadly Blades. Like Kiss Farewell can drop by 5 easily. It's just too expensive at 30 points, but it kind of justifies itself a little bit on the Chapter Mage. Like it's weird like that, like where they've kind of priced it for its absolute top end, and if you're not grabbing it for its top end, it's not worth it. But even if you are grabbing it for its top end, it's like this is still pricey and a choice, and maybe that's what the problem with these upgrades are.
Yeah, most of them are costed like they imagine they were going to have a much bigger impact on games than they actually do. So generally speaking, I think even the really valuable ones could probably be priced to sell, just because.
What upgrades are cool?
Well, it's not even that they're cool. It's just they're not as gameplay warping as they feel when you read the effects. So generally speaking, if you want them to actually be a more attractive proposition than more guys, they probably need to stop competing with regiments in cost. Or stands, that is to say.
Mm-hmm.
So generally speaking, if everything was around the 20 to 30 point range, you'd probably see stuff that was a lot more attractive to take for what it is.
Yeah, like it's kind of similar to my issues as banners. A lot of banners are just too expensive to take. And if you are taking banners, you're putting it on something that you want to charge, so you've already accepted that cost. Like Steel Legion, I want them to charge and be able to get in to do damage, so I'm taking a banner. My 9 block a Gilded Legion Anvil, my Household Guard 9 block, my Militia 9 block, I want them all to get in at various points. I'm taking a banner. But like Men-at-Arms, like a MSU of Men-at-Arms, you're not getting a banner. Like like even if you're 5 points, like you're not getting a banner unless I have 5 points left over. However, there's things like Ashen Dawn, Sealed Temple, Sealed or Crimson Tower, and Crimson Towers, like Ashen Dawn. So in those 3, Sealed Temple are not getting banners because they have fluid. Crimson Towers have to hit first to do damage, so I need to make sure I die the dice roll, so you're getting a banner first. Ashen Dawn, you're an Anvil, you don't need a banner, but if I have points left, I'm going to give you a banner, but you're 15 points, so that can go somewhere else. I can add those points up to add another stand somewhere, or I can do a different upgrade, or I can play around with it somewhere else. Like that's I can upgrade a unit of Militia Bowmen to a unit of Merc Crossbows if I gain 20 points. Is it 20 points? What is it? Militia Bowmen are 75, so I need 30 points. And 2 units of Ashen Dawn banners are 15 each, so 30 points. Yeah, there we go. So I can upgrade Militia Bowmen to Merc Crossbows. Merc Crossbows are now doing more work than Militia Bowmen. There's a more effective regiment in my list. Like, you can play around with it like that. And I find a lot of upgrades are very similar to that. And I would like, I'm not gonna lie, I'd rather see more free banners in the game, to be honest, especially after like playing with the Mounted Squires and the Household Knights. Just because like getting in with that charge is just so much easier with a banner. If you fail the roll, you get to re-roll it. All the boxes come with a banner. A lot of players build a banner anyway, and then as they play the game, they start realizing like where banners are important and where it's not. But now one of the models has a banner, and if you have to play what you see is what you get, it's kind of like, well, do I chop the guy's arm off? What I've already painted? Like, there's a couple of like nonsense stuff like that. So I'm just it's kind of similar. So I don't mind upgrades. I like them. I like the customizability. I like the uniqueness of some of the abilities. Some of them are very unique. Some of them are just kind of like you get cleave 1 and +1 attack or +1 clash. Like, yay! Like, whoop-de-doo. Yeah. Some of them are like the character gains tenacious. The character gets +1. I'm like, man, if I'm getting into a fight, I'm dying anyway. It's an Imperial officer. There's dying.
Yeah.
So it's not worth it. So yeah.
Yeah.
I'm good. How about you?
Yeah, I think we've covered it.
Yeah, let's Ricky wrap them up and call her a night. So thanks everyone for listening to our heirloom treasures artifact talk. It was kind of interesting going through it all. I have to be honest. So I'm glad we did this one.
Yeah, again.
Yeah. Just for closing remarks, BonkTable's got a Discord. You can join that in the description below. We got a YouTube channel. You're either watching this on YouTube and looking at the meme or just listening to it on a podcast. If you're on YouTube, all this stuff is on podcast format. So if you're doing long drives, whatever you're doing, it's available to you. Cassandra, you got Twitter.
Yeah, I am BonkTable Cast on Twitter. I mostly just post Conquest memes, but maybe you're into that.
Thank goodness. You can find Cassandra's Twitter in the description below as well. And yeah, I hope you guys either leave a comment on the YouTube channel, what you think about different upgrades and heirlooms, maybe something we missed, maybe something we got wrong. Let us know. It's always interesting to hear a different perspective. Or come on to the BonkTable Discord and tell us there. There's a whole channel dedicated to people talking about our discussion and wanting interaction with us about more in-depth or going over something maybe a specific a little more. Or even give us a counter. That's one guy was like, I didn't talk about mounted squires in the horse episode, and then I accidentally re-listened to my own episode and was like, I talked about mounted squires. Stop lying to me. You can't trick me. I know I did. I'm not going to be fooled even if I recorded this 2 months ago and forgot everything I said. So yeah. But with that, thank you for listening, everybody.
Have a good night, everyone.
Bye.